Welcome to the AeroScout MobileView demo. MobileView is the web-based client from the AeroScout real-time location system. The client provides users and administrators a unified view of all their assets and staff. All assets and staff that have an AeroScout active Wi-Fi RFID tag, a passive tag, and wireless clients are displayed in the single client on the locator screen. MobileView also has a sophisticated event engine that monitors all assets and staff, providing alerts based on location, status, or condition. MobileView contains reports that can be executed in an ad hoc manner or scheduled to be emailed or saved to a file share. The client supports user login, which determine which areas a user can see and what type of access that the user will be granted, such as read-only or edit and delete capability. In this example, I am logged in using the MobileView admin account. The user's Active Directory login information can be used so that the same account can provide both Windows and MobileView access. In addition to Active Directory, other LDAP services can be used to support the login. The first part of this demo will show the ability to view maps or lists of assets and staff. The demo will also show the ability to search for specified items. You see three options on the left side of the screen. The favorites allow a single-click access to predefined searches. The favorites can be shared or personal. You can see two favorites for mining. The first favorite yields a map with all of the assets, while the second favorite shows only the staff. After clicking on the mining favorite, we will see a map with all the assets and staff. We can move the map with the cursor. We can zoom in with the mouse or the scroll bar on the screen. Notice that each asset or staff is represented by an icon. Each category is represented by a different icon that's either a system icon or a custom icon. The icon also displays a small icon representing the status, in this case a green flag. If multiple assets occur at the same location, the multiple asset icon will appear. By clicking on the multiple asset icon, a list of the assets or staff at that location appears. By clicking on an icon, a pop-up will appear that displays the name and the ID of the asset or staff. The location, status, last event, and any custom attributes are also displayed. The More link provides additional features such as the location history. In addition to the map display, the user can also select a list display. The configuration of the columns in the list and the sort can be configured. The user can also click on the details to get the additional functionality. There is also a hybrid view that provides both a list and a map. If the user was searching for a particular asset For example, the LHD4 loader. The user can use the Find Specific Asset functionality. The user types in the name, ID, tag ID, or serial number of the asset that they want to find. As the item is typed in the text box, a list of all the matching items appears in the drop-down box. The user can click the search button to display a map or a list of all of the items in the list. Or the user can click on one of the items to go directly to the map or list with that item selected. The advanced search option allows us to create a search using any category, location, department, status, group, or selected text. For example, let's create a search that will find all of the loaders and trucks that are located on the upper ramp. We can see that we have 3 assets that are found through this search. This search can be saved as a favorite for future use. We will now observe equipment and staff moving on the map. Located at draw point 1 is the Mine LHD4 loader and Miner 1. After the miner has a load, we see the loader and miner exit draw point 1. The loader and miner are moving towards haulage truck 4. We now see the loader, the truck, and the miners are at the same location. The load is transferred to the haulage truck. Haulage truck 4 and miner 2 are now moving towards dump point 1. We can watch as the haulage truck and the miner continue through the mine shaft. If we jump forward, we'll see that the haulage truck and miner 2 are getting close to dump point 1. We see that the haulage truck and the miner have now entered draw point 1. If we select the More from LHD4 Loader and run the location history, we can see where the loader picked up its load, and then clicking on the graph we can see the location highlighted on the timeline, or clicking on the timeline we can see it highlighted on the map. The last entry here is when the load and the truck were at the same location and transferred the load. If we now look at the location history from the truck, we'll see where the truck picked up the load and then moved until it entered the last location at the dump point 1. While we were reviewing the location of the loader and truck, we also received some other notifications. The jumbled drill at draw point 1 needs maintenance, so the miner presses a tag with the call button. The call button triggers an alert that we see in the instant notifier.
Pending alert.
We can dismiss the alert in the instant notifier and also delete it once it is completed. We can see here in the instant notifier that we see the name, the category, the message, maintenance is needed, and we also see a map with the location of the asset. In addition to the instant notifier, we can also send alerts to email, text messages, and other forms of notification. On the alert screen, we can view all the alerts that have occurred in a given time range or of a given type. From the alert screen, we can change the status from pending to dismiss to deleted. We can also enter a corrective action. In addition to being able to see alerts in the instant notifier, on the alert screen, and through notifications such as email and text messages, we can also send alerts to various other software packages through various communication formats. The most common types are web services and HTTP post commands. Mobile View reports provide reports for current inventory levels, equipment utilization, location history, alert history, evacuation monitoring, system usage, and condition monitoring for temperature, humidity, voltage, or other telemetry. Report configuration includes the title and the format. The format can be PDF, comma separated values, or HTML. The parameters allow the report to filter the items based on category, group, department, status, area, or date, depending on the selected report. The report may contain graphs or column data. The columns and the sorting can be configured as desired. If the report contains temperature or dates, the formats can be specified in addition to the time zone and language. In this report, we're going to report on the loaders and trucks that are currently in the upper ramp area. The first graph shows the breakdown by category. We have one loader and we have two trucks. The next graph shows the breakdown by status. Two are in the available status and one is in the in-use status. We then have the text list of the three pieces of equipment that are in this report. In addition to the ad hoc reports, we can also have saved reports. In the case of a saved report, we can do the same type of specifications, but in this case the report can be run at any time manually, or it can be placed on a schedule, and then the report can be either sent to an email or saved to a file share. The report also gives the ability to control who has access to the report. Let's now look at the administration for configuring the various levels of the mine. The administration tab is available to any user that has access to the administration. Within the administration, we set up the assets and categories, the events, various system parameters, and also the maps associated to our site. Within the maps, all of the maps are stored in the engine, and MobileView pulls those maps to be configured. The first part of the configuration is configuring the site. This configuration is an enterprise-wide configuration where you can define multiple sites. Within each site, you then define the mines or the buildings that are involved and the number of levels for each one. In this case, if we took a look at a mine and we define 4 different levels, we can then place a name for each level. Each level that we define can have a single map or multiple maps on that particular level. So for example, on level 1 we have a single map. It's the nickel map here. For level 2, maybe we want to have 2 different maps defined. So we could have area A and area B. And then we would click and drag from the available list of maps a map for each of these areas. Once we have defined the site, the next step is to define the zones on each map. Each zone can be a different color and have different properties. These zones are very easy to define. We just select the draw tool and click on the corners of the area. We then can type a name, description, types, and status, as well as the color for this particular zone. After we have a zone defined, we can change the shape of the zone. We can add points or remove points. We can move the zone, and we can also export the zone and then re-import it on another map. The zones are maintained within Mobile View, and if for some reason the map stored in the engine were to change, these same zones would be placed on the new map, and then you may have to adjust the zones depending on any changes in the map. Next, we will look at the AeroScout Evacuation Manager. In this example, we'll use an oil and gas refinery where we have defined 4 mustering point areas, a shelter, and 50 individuals that will need to be evacuated. From the evacuation dashboard, we're able to monitor the evacuation event or the evacuation drill. The dashboard provides a quick status of the progress of the evacuation and provides drill down to view individuals and areas. We will now start the evacuation. In the left area, we'll see that we have one area that we are evacuating with a total of 50 people in that area, 5 who are currently mustered and 45 who are not yet mustered. We can drill down into that particular area to see additional details. We will notice that the 5 people that are currently mustered are in the Shelter 1, which is the control room. In the right panel, we will see all of the mustering points and shelters. Next to each one, we will see the facilities that are defined for each of these areas. These icons and what facilities are available are user configured. We'll see the current capacity and the current number in each one of these shelters or mustering points. And we'll notice that none of the points are currently restricted. Down at the bottom, we will see all events. We will see here that the evacuation activated the probe lights. This was done by an IP relay. As the evacuation proceeds, we will see the number of mustered increase we can see the number in each of the mustering points. We see that mustering point 4 is now full and has now exceeded its capacity, and we see a mustering point overflow event. In order to respond to the overflow condition, let's look at the map. We will see that at muster point 4 we already have 11 individuals, plus we have 9 additional people moving towards mustering point 4. If we look at the next closest mustering point, we will see that we have a first responder at this muster point. So we can dispatch the first responder to redirect the overflow. We now see that we have 2 first responders, the one that was originally at muster point 4 and the other one that was dispatched to redirect the workers. We now see that muster point 4 is at capacity. As the last first responder was coming into the muster point, we see that the man down event occurred. We went ahead and sent a second first responder to resolve this situation. Now both first responders and the last worker have successfully mustered. We now see that all the 50 individuals have been mustered, and each of the mustering points or shelters are within their capacity. We can now stop the evacuation. When we stop the evacuation, we are prompted for a name to save this evacuation for future review. There are 2 reports to review the evacuation. The first one is the mustering progress summary report. This report gives us the start and the end time, as well as the averaging mustering time. We'll also see a detail of each individual and their mustering time. The second report is the mustering progress report. For this report, we select a time interval. In this report, we see the status at each of the selected time intervals. We'll see the total mustered, the total not mustered, and we'll see the breakdown for each of the mustering points or shelters. Any overflow condition is highlighted in red. MobileView also provides a dashboard that can be used at entry and exit points to view the staff as they pass the choke point. Currently I'm viewing all choke points, but I could also select the east or the south gate. The dashboard is configured to display the picture, the name, ID, time, event name, and battery status. If the battery status is low, the line will be highlighted in red. In addition to these attributes, the dashboard can also be configured to display the category, status, serial number, tag ID, or event type. Let's watch the dashboard as the staff move through the checkpoints. Miner 1 has now entered through the east gate, and the battery status is OK. Miner 2 has now entered through the south gate. We now see Mine Mechanic 1 has entered through the east gate. And now Electrician 1. But Electrician 1 has a battery status of low and needs to have a new tag or an updated battery before entering the mind. And this line is highlighted. Right now we're seeing all the events. If I change to the east gate, I would only see the events that have occurred at the east gate.